Number one, tomatoes. Those are the elites. They are the revolutionaries. They are red, right? Tomatoes are red inside and outside. They are the true believers of this communism. The tomatoes are ruling the country. The apples are barely surviving, and grapes are oppressed beyond any measure that we can think of. North Korea does not have internet. However, they have intranet among the elites. The regime literally executes people for watching foreign information. Because of that, every device strictly is controlled by the regime in North Korea. Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Yeonmi Park and I'm a North Korean de facto human rights activist. So today in this video, I am finally going to talk about top 5 weird rules that only exist in North Korea. I guarantee you that it's gonna blow your mind. So number 1, every North Korea's elite homes are tapped. Recently, I met a North Korean really high-ranking elite that escaped to America. And she told me she has a very quiet voice. So I actually just thought that was her personality, like, oh, you're so girly, you really talk very quiet. And she told me, no, it's not because like my personality, I shaped this way because of the environment. That since she was a baby, they all knew that their home was tapped. Their lamps, everything was tapped. That even they to their own mothers, they could never say what was on their mind honestly. They had to constantly whisper to each other. And I couldn't believe it because in the countryside, for the commoners like me who are living in a suburb, we did not even have electricity. Elites in North Korea, Pyongyang, that is the only spot that have electricity lights at nighttime. And I somehow thought that was a blessing, right? Like where the rest of the country was living in the darkness, these guys, elites in Pyongyang, or at least had electricity. However, that was not the reason why the regime was giving electricity to elites, because they had to surveillance these elites, and therefore all their houses and rooms, everything was tapped, and they had to whisper. And when they really had to say something, they had to write it down and going outside and show it to each other. So because of that habit, this elite person now living in America still does the same thing, whispering. And that really reminded me of my mom was telling me that even the birds and mice could hear my whisper. That really shows how the regime's surveillance is so deep in that in North Korea is never gonna free from that brainwashing and propaganda. Number 2, every device in North Korea, guys, has to be registered by the regime. So if you have MP3, it has to be registered. If you have a computer, a phone, any kind of device, that has to be registered with the regime. The reason is, I asked them like why these devices has to be registered, because usually the elites are the ones who have access to technology like computer, phones, and MP3 devices. The reason is that the regime prevents people to use SD cards to, looking at the phone information. Therefore, you have to bring your phone and to go to the regime, and they destroy the parts where the SD card goes in. And because of that, every device has to be registered and they give it a sticker. If the device does not have that sticker and have the content that the regime does not allow, that person either gonna be executed or sent to political prison camps. They're treating foreign information in North Korea as a treason. The regime literally executes people for watching foreign information. Because of that, every device strictly is controlled by the regime in North Korea. Number 3, there are only 28 websites in North Korea. But I'm sure you're like surprised. How do North Korea have a website? They don't have even internet. So that's right. North Korea does not have internet. However, they have intranet among the elites. So among the elites in North Korea, they have something that's called intranet that is only connected within North Korea. However, among these 28 sites that only people allowed to visit, it is all government propaganda. There's a one website that is about movies, movie streaming service. However, the entire movies on the streaming service is a propaganda. The remaining ones about the Kim's thoughts on like philosophy, Kim's revolutionary history, that kind of things that people have to study. So I've been asking elites like, were you happy that you guys at least had some intranet? And they were saying it was actually worse because then their devices were constantly these articles and the words coming to them, and the elites have to memorize them and study them, and the commoners, because we don't have those devices and never had to worry about studying those daily propaganda materials every day. So even using this technology, the regime uses it to brainwash people and control people. Number 4, North Korean class divided by fruits. This is gonna be funny to you because I've been talking about how North Korea divided people since 1957. The regime began as a socialist paradise and communism, dividing people into top 3 big categories of different status, then dividing in them to 51 subclasses. However, big 3 division is divided by fruit color. Number 1, tomatoes. Those are the elites. They are the revolutionaries. They are red, right? Tomatoes are red inside and outside. They are the true believers of this communism. Therefore, the elite, the military officers, those people are in the Pyongyang called the tomato class. The second class called apples because the outside the apple guys is red, however inside is white. So those are the majority of North Koreans who needs surveillance and who needs a lot of reindoctrination and brainwashing, because those people can easily flip. They are only red outside to survive, because otherwise they're gonna get killed, and the regime knows. That's why they call the commoners as apples, not the tomatoes. The last one, grapes. They are not the communists. They got no red in them. They are the hostile class, But in North Korea, being a hostile class is like being a criminal. Criminal means in North Korea literally making an unauthorized international phone call. And like watching a movie, reading a Bible, that gets people become criminals and the worst of the worst, hostile class. And all that family have to be dragged into the same class. The tomatoes are ruling the country, the apples are barely surviving, and grapes are oppressed beyond any measure that we can think of. Last one, number 5. North Korean regime itself controls entire travel into the country and out of the country. This is really only the country does that. Even other countries have some private sector manage the control, but whoever gets in and goes out, the regime manages it all. So if you ever try to go to North Korea as a tourist, you have to go through the North Korean regime. And North Korean regime gives the mandates, the requirements, give the visas. They control the whole thing, because in North Korea, people have no freedom of movement. So even though when the foreign tourists go to North Korea and they have to follow the government guides and follow the North Korean regime's rule, they have to bow in front of Kim's statues, they have to respect the leaders and materials, all those things are coming from the North Korean regime. It's impossible, no any foreign entity can contact with the North Korean private sector, because the regime owns the entire country. I hope that this video was enlightening and educational and entertaining, guys. Please hit that like button and share this video with anybody that you know. I look forward to seeing you all in the next video. Love you guys.